Okay, perfect. So I was going to record my video for my March Hostess Club, and then I thought, you know what? I'm going to jump on here live, and then I am going to upload it to YouTube. So thank you for stopping by, completely unplanned. But if you wanted to see what we're doing, let me get my lights going all good over here. I see somebody's here, but I don't know who. All right. Is that enough light? Can we see? Am I positioned well? Got a ruler. Man, I am so excited for these cards. Like, look how cute these cards. This is called a double slider card. Okay, and for those of you in my Hostess Club, you have all the pieces cut and stamped. Well, at least stamped, pretty much cut. You might have a little bit of fussy cutting to do. But for the most part, you should be able to color and assemble with me. And here's the thing, if you're watching it on the replay, just pause the video so that you can color. But I will be coloring with us today. And I will be going over what colors I am using on what. So that's always a helpful little hint. So this is a double slider. And we're first going to start off with this basic gray. And this is the cute Woodland Wonder stamp set. And when you pull it out, the tree grows. And it says, happy birthday. Hope your day stacks up to be one good thing on top of another. So there's that one. And then I used Kangaroo and Company. And I did the same kind of card. And there you go. So it says, hello, hopping by just to say hi. And then here is the stamp set that I am using for that one. And at the end of the video, I will show you another card I made using this exact same technique. So this month, I really wanted to show you how quickly and how easily it would be and how much different they are to make two of the exact same style card with different colors and different stamp sets, just so you could see the versatility with this type of card. Okay? This is the last month of celebration, and all orders need to be in by noon on February 28th. That way I can get the order placed on the 28th, and you can still earn your free celebration items. All right, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to take this one, and I'm just going to move it out of the way. Okay, because we're not going to need that one right now. And we're going to work on this one. Now, in your kit, I have already stamped these, so they should line up for you. Okay, so you're not going to have to worry about that stamping part. But I wanted to just let you know so that hopefully when we're working, and the other one doesn't have to be lined up so perfectly, but this one is stamped so that it will line up perfectly. And I did pre-stamp mine as well, just because I didn't want to be nervous on the video. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take my stamp set and set that over there, and my card right up front so I can see it. And here is what you will find in your kit. So every kit comes with an envelope, so it will be ready to pop in the mail. And you have a card base, and this card base measures 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and it is scored at 5 1/2. Then we have 2 pieces in Pool Party, and they measure 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. So these are in Pool Party, 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. And then I have one in Granny Apple Green, and this one measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And these are the mats for my 3 pieces. So then I have some basic white, and I have them already pre-stamped, and these 2 are the exact same size. And these 2 measure 3 inches by 4 1/4. So there are 2 pieces that are 3 inches by 4 1/4. And then I have this piece that is already stamped, and it measures 2 inches by 3 1/4 inches. Then I have these pieces here. This is Pool Party. You're not going to see these. These are simply scrap pieces. And then these pieces here are for my sentiment that I'm going to cut down just with scissors, and then I'll cut down the granny apple green to fit, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to first prep my card base, okay? So this card base, super, super, super easy. Let me find my trimmer here. All right, so for a measuring device, I am cutting just a piece of scrap paper that is 1 inch wide, okay? 1 inch. Just a piece of scrap paper I have here on my desk. It just needs to be 1 inch wide so that I can use it for measuring. I'm going to go ahead and put that back so it's out of the way. And because I'm on video, I'm going to use my white jelly roll. And I'm going to measure 1 inch. So this is actually going to be the bottom of your card, and this is the top. So I'm going to measure using this 1 inch from the bottom, and I'm going to just draw a line. Now you don't want it too wide because you don't want it to show. And then I'm going to take this same piece and I'm going to put it there in the center, and I am going to measure 1 inch and draw a little line there. Okay? Just like that. Now I am going to take my classic label punch, and I am going to punch my holes or my tracks for my slider piece. Okay, so when I do this, I'm going to line up this point with the white line that I drew and pop it out, and then I'm just going to slide it, and this is all the way in, so it stays equal. Okay, so that's one track, and then I'm going to flip it over here, and I am going to punch and punch. So that way I end up with 2 tracks for my slider piece. And that's all I need this punch for. And I'm going to go ahead and close that and set that over here to the side. And now while I have this piece out, I'm going to load my track. Okay, I'm going to stick. Now these are scraps. They can be as wide as you want. This way. They obviously have to be wider than this, but you'll see when I go to put them together, I'm going to trim one of them off a little bit. So I'm going to just lay that there on the inside of my card, pretty straight. I'm going to lay that flat, and then just to hold it down, I'm going to put my coffee cup there. Well, it's a coffee cup, but it's full of junk, full of supplies. And now I'm going to take my foam tape, and I'm going to cut 2 little pieces so that it will fit inside this track, okay? All right, so here's my foam tape, and I am going to just slice it just like that. And I'm going to put this right here, and then this piece right here. And before I move that cup, I am going to take the backing off of my foam tape, and I am going to put my other scrap piece, and I'm just gonna do that, and then I'm gonna just trim this side off a little, okay? Because it doesn't have to be as wide, and the inside piece isn't gonna matter. All right, so that's my track piece. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to set that up there. And I am going to spend a little bit of time coloring with you. So we have trees, 2 pieces of tree. Now, I don't need to color this bird unless I want to, because this bird is going to line up right over the top when the card is actually assembled, okay? And I don't need to color this bird because you're not going to see that bird when we pull it all out, okay? So if you look at my completed card, you can see that you just barely see the bottom of the squirrel there. So let's keep that in mind when we're coloring. So I am going to use my Copic markers, and I'm going to start off with coloring my tree trunk. Now this has a lot of brown animals. You have a brown squirrel and a raccoon and an owl. So I'm going to be using lots of shades of brown today. But keep in mind, you could use watercolor pencils, regular colored pencils. There's a variety of mediums that you could use. And I'm actually going to change this up. Instead of doing this blue here in the background, I'm going to change it up. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that here in a minute. All right. So where is my scrap? Here's a piece of scrap paper. And I'm just going to color and just go flick right off the edge of this tree. So I get all the way up to the very edge. Okay. And then I'm going to flip this over. Hopefully you can see my color. I'm going to push this down a little bit. All right. So the weather outside is snowy, which I think is absolutely beautiful. I love that the sun is kind of shining and it's snowy out. There's not a lot of snow, but it's just enough to make everything wet and slick. So if you are out there driving today, make sure that you are careful. I mean, the snow is pretty light, but anywhere that you have stepped or driven on turns to ice because it's still pretty cold out. All right, so there's that tree trunk. And then I'm going to go ahead, and this again is E23. I'm going to set that one aside, and I'm going to color this tree trunk. Now, you're not going to see any of that, so I'm just going to go all the way down. Okay. All of this will be covered by the other piece. So yeah, like I went out and I just used my little snow blower. Well, it's actually a leaf blower. And I just used that to blow the snow off the sidewalk. But wherever anybody walked, you could still see those footprints because the snow melted and turned to ice. So it's kind of weird, but that's how it is. So just be careful when you're out there. I don't want anybody to be slipping and falling and having any accidents. We need to enjoy 2020, not be laid up. Or 2021, sorry about that. Nobody wants to be laid up. And I'm just going to add a couple extra layers of this E23 just to darken it up in some areas. I'm using so many browns that I just don't want to add more. So one thing with Copics is you can just darken it by adding more layers of the ink. Okay, and then now I'm going to do the tree. And you're not going to see that bird, so I'm just going to color it brown. That bird will be covered. Okay. And this branch. All right, so there's that. Now for my squirrel here, I am going to use E17 and E15. So here's my E15, and then this is E17. And my E17 is darker, so I like to color darkest to lightest. So I'm going to add just a little bit right there for the darker parts of my raccoon. And maybe his little paws. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my E15. And I'm just going to add that. It's just a little bit lighter. Adds a little bit of dimension. And I'm going to go over this just a little bit more so I can blend it in that color. Now, how cute would he be if he had just a teeny tiny little googly eye? It wouldn't work on this card because he tucks in behind, but it still would be pretty cute. And then I think I'm going to take my E13 and I'm going to color his little face. And I'll take my dark E17 again and I'm just going to color in his little nose. Okay. So those are those three. And I'm trying to put my markers away as I color so that I don't have this huge marker mess. Then for the bird, I used BG15. Okay, so this bird right up here, I used BG15, 13, 15. I grabbed the wrong marker. BG15. There we are. Okay, BG15. And I'm just going to do one light coat over the whole body. And then where I want it darker, like underneath his wing and on his belly, I'm just going to add a few more layers. Okay, that's it. He doesn't need a lot. And then for his, I'll just grab a random orange for his beak. How about we do some YR07 for his beak? There we are. All right, so I still have this piece. I have my raccoon and my owl to color. And on my original, I did the YR07 for his beak on the owl. There we are. And then I used E35 to color my owl, but I think I'm going to go a little bit lighter on this one. And I'm going to do E33. So that, because I kind of felt like the E35 really closely matched the tree. And I really didn't want him that close in color to the tree. So, add a little layer there for dimension. Okay, there we are. How easy peasy was that? Okay, and then my raccoon, I wrote down that I had used E49 and E44. So the E49 was for the darker part of his eyes. Now I'm going to color around his eyes and leave them white. I know his eyes aren't white, but I feel like we're going to lose something if we color them up. And then I did E44 for the rest of his body. It's just a shade lighter. Okay. And then I also took the E49 to darken up the insides of the holes in here. Okay. All right, so there we go. There is my raccoon. Now finally I used, for the grass here at the bottom and for the leaves in the tree, I used two greens. I used YG17 and I used YG25. And I didn't like, I don't know. I didn't do them in any particular order. I just did a little here, a little there kind of a thing. So I'm going to start off with my darker marker. And I'm just going to color some random green ones. Like that. There we are. And again, this one is YG17. Just color randomly. Again, you know, some of these are going to get covered up. Like, you're not even going to see them. So, you don't have to be too, like, particular about it. Okay. And since I have the YG17 out, I'm going to go ahead and color some of these. And I'm kind of looking at what I colored here for coloring this side, because I don't want to end up with a light green at the top of this one if you can see it. Does that make sense? So I want to make sure my colors kind of match a little bit. Okay. All right, I think that's good. Now I'm going to take my light green here and color in just like that. Perfect. I'm pretty sure we're not going to see any of these leaves on the inside, but I want to make sure that if we can, they have a little color on them. Doesn't have to be perfect, but there we go. Now on my original card, I did some swipes of like B001 or B00, but I think this time I am going to take a sticky note and do a little bit of sponging to see how that sky will look. So just bear with me. Oh, I forgot to color the grass. You know, I always have sticky notes everywhere, and then when I do a video, I can't ever find them. So I'm just gonna kind of just use this to kind of cover up a little bit, but it'll be okay because it's going to be such a light blue. I'm going to take my Pool Party ink pad. There we are. And I'm going to take a smaller blending brush. And I'm just going to start here. I'm going to do this and this. Okay, so I kind of have it there. And I'm just going to kind of blend the background. Okay, I'm not going so dark over those leaves that it's going to change the color of my leaves. I'm just adding some blue to the background. Okay. And you know, that brown is so dark that you can't really like tell. So I guess I really don't. And a little over the top of the leaves so I can get the background there. There we go. That's just a little bit of sponging. So it's a much different look. And if you didn't want to do the swipes. And then I'm going to just take that same thing and it goes lightly over. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And I'm starting from the edge and I'm going in circles and working my way up and down the edge of the paper, not getting too close. I think, oh, I dropped that. Oh. There we go. All right, so that'll kind of be like this. Get a little blue right there. Okay, there we go. How cute does that look? All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm also going to do the edge of this. I do not want to put any of the sponging over the owl's face because his eyes will be blue. And I don't really think I want his eyes to be blue. I think that, yeah, I think I want his eyes to be white. So I'm just going to kindly go around the owl, not going over his eyes at all. There we go. So now I need to grab those green inks again, the YG17 and YG25, and I am going to do some flicking of the grass. Okay, and then I'm going to go over with the darker one. Just like that. How cute is that? Very, very cute. Okay, now I think we are ready to assemble. Now remember, we've already started with the card base. So we're going to go ahead and finish this little baby up because we are really close to the end now. All right, so I have my card base up here. I'm going to move that. And I'm going to take and glue this piece onto here. And I'm going to glue this piece onto this piece. And then I'm going to glue this piece here. Okay? So let's go ahead and grab. I'm going to use my Tombow liquid glue. And just do a light scribble. Okay? You don't want to use too much, otherwise it tends to warp your paper. Okay? So be very light-handed with the amount of liquid glue. I'm going to zoom back out here. Okay, give that a nice press. Okay, now take this one, a little bit of a scribble, get the corners. Okay, and glue that down. Give it a nice good press. And then we'll do the same thing with this smaller piece and glue it right onto the Granny Apple Green. Okay? I love Granny Apple Green. It is one of my all-time favorite colors. Okay. So there are our three pieces. Now I'm going to take this one with the trees and I'm going to line it up. Oh, I got some goober on there, but it'll be okay because I will have a bow. First, I need to punch my notch. Now, if you do not have a notch punch, you could use like half of a circle die or a quarter of a small circle die, or you could trace something round there and cut it out. The notch punch I have is from Close to My Heart, and it is discontinued. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay this piece right there, okay? And then I'm going to add some glue here to the bottom, just here in the center. And this piece here, do you see this here? I am going to fold it. When I fold this, make sure that's straight. I'm going to tip this like this so you can see better. Okay, so that's straight with this edge. And I'm going to make sure this piece will land right there at the bottom. And I like the liquid glue because I have a little bit of wiggle room. And there we go. It should be just like that. Okay, lined up just like that at the bottom. Now, I am going to put a little line of liquid glue here on the edges. And I am going to close. Oop, I'm wiggling. Close my card. Give it a good press. Okay. All right, so there we have the inside. Okay, right like that. See there? Now I'm going to pull this to the absolute top. And I'm going to line this up where I want it to fall. Okay, right about there is good. And then I'm going to put just a little bit of glue on this little other slider piece, majigga thing. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. Okay, hold that there. You could trim these edges off, but as long as it doesn't interfere with the front. And so this is the front piece, and I am going to take my foam tape, my big old roll of foam tape here, and with my big scissors, I'm going to cut this piece of foam tape down into thirds, okay? So I'm going to flip that over, and I'm going to put foam tape down here, bottom, and there, just not at the top. Oh my goodness. So I'm not sure. One reason I'm doing this on a Facebook Live is because I do not know when I will have time to get this video edited and put on YouTube. But I figure as long as it's right here on Facebook and my customers can find it as much as they want, or, you know, whenever they're ready for it and they don't have to wait on me to get it onto YouTube, I figure it's a win-win. All right, so there we go. And then I'm going to put this piece right here at the bottom. Normally, I would probably make the strip go all the way across, but that's all I had left of that piece, so it'll be fine. It will still do its job. Okay. Just like that. There we go. And then now I am going to line that up. Make sure it's straight. Line my trees up. And this piece should be centered about in the middle. Okay. Okay, there we are. So that is it. That's our slider card. So now I'm going to finish up and I'm going to do my sentiments. And I have 2 sentiments that I need to stamp from my stamp set. And, you know, I have this scrap piece of paper here. So I'm just going to use it. I'm going to stamp this one and a happy birthday. Okay? Go ahead and close those. I'll grab 2 blocks. There's that one and that one. And I'm just going to stamp these with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm going to be trimming these out. So if you didn't get them straight or you don't feel like they're straight on your packet, it's okay. Because I am going to be trimming these out with my scissors. Okay, I'm going to put my lid on that for a second. And when I'm doing some trimming like this, I like to use my big scissors. So I'm just going to cut that off. There we are. So I'm going to cut as close to that happy birthday as I can. As straight as I can. Trim the edges. Trim the edges. And I'll just glue this piece on here. And then I'll trim off the excess. And now I'm going to do the same thing with this side. There we are. There we are. Okay, and then that's going to get glued on there. And so these were just scrap pieces. I didn't measure them. I just figured I gave you a piece big enough for your hand trimming. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the back of that. And then I'm going to glue this up in the corner so it kind of starts my mat on two sides. Give that a second, and then I'll take this one and I will put that up in the upper left hand corner to kind of get my mat started on two sides. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and trim that and trim that and do the same thing on here, just like that. Okay, throw those scraps away. Now for this piece, my happy birthday, I am going to make sure that I put enough glue down because I want this to be as flat as possible so it doesn't get hung up on my slider. Okay, so there's that, and then now I'm going to slide it in there. Okay, and then on my next piece, I am going to, so here's the bottom. I want to put some thin adhesive along, or foam tape along the bottom, because it's going to be halfway on the piece and halfway on the background. So I only want the foam tape on the bottom because the background is already popped up. And then I'm going to put a little liquid adhesive on the top. And then I'll take that and put a little adhesive right there. So that way when I put it on here, the foam tape lands on the card base. And so see, it's stuck up just a little bit, just like that. One final step, I am going to take my ribbon. If I can find what I did with it, I think I put it away. All right, here is my ribbon. I have this white ribbon. This is metallic edged ribbon from Stampin' Up. Oop. And tie my bow. I think for most of my customers, I think their bows are tied. Like, I don't think you have to tie your own bow. Okay, make sure that's nice and straight and as big as I want it. There we are. I'm going to go ahead and cut that off and trim this side off a little. There we are. Go ahead and stick that over there. I'm going to grab a glue dot here. I'm going to actually do a couple because these are mini glue dots. And I don't want this bow to fall off. And so with this being right there lined up with the edge, I'm going to just stick my bow right there. And I have one side that's just a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and trim that so it's not longer. And that's my first card. Okay. And then you just pull the bow and happy birthday. Hope your day stacks up to be one good thing on top of another. All right, so that's our first card. Now our second card is not as complicated because nothing has to line up. You're just going to kind of go with the flow. So let's go ahead and, oh, here's the original, and this one I did the flicks, and this one I just sponged the pool party on the background. So you can decide what you like and what you think is better. All right, so I'm going to move my Woodland Wonder. I am now done with it. So I am going to set it aside here. And I'm going to grab, oh, I put that aside and I did not put my stamps away. Let me go ahead and dry the stamps or clean the stamps off. My microfiber cloth. Put those on here. Okay. Done and done. Now I can put those away. And so let me bring back the other card. Here is the other card we're going to do. And it looks just like this. And we're going to pull it out. And it's just hopping by to say hello. Now I moved the hello to this piece here because you can't even see it behind that bow. But this is my sample, so that's okay. But I will fix it on this next card. All right, so here's my kit. I'm going to go ahead and open my kit, my envelope, set that up there. I don't need the pool party ink anymore. I do need my punch. And I'm going to set my stamps aside because I'm not stamping quite yet. I will be stamping here in a second. I'm just going to take my 1-inch marker piece. And again with my white gel pen, just for the sake of the video, I'm going to put a little line there and 1 inch in. I think this one's about out of ink, but I can still see a little bit. But I'm going to throw that marker away right now because I cannot stand it when a marker's out of ink. All right, so I'm going to open up my punch, and again, this is the classic label punch, and I'm going to push it all the way in, punch, and to the tip, punch. There we go, just like that. And I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to do the same thing again, and punch. All right, now you could save these and use them for a project, but you know, I'm not gonna. All right, so that is done, and then I'm going to punch my little notch, and I'm done with the punches now. So you can make your notch as deep or as slight as you would like. See, that's just a little one. I want a little more room, so I'm going to actually just push it in and redo it, and that way my bow has enough room to fit in there. Okay. So punches we are done with. Let's go ahead and set those over there. Now I'm going to take my mama kangaroo and my baby kangaroo, and I am going to line them up. Now, see, I've already been using this today, and my piece is still there. So I'm going to put this kangaroo there, and I am going to put this kangaroo there. And close it and pick this up just like that. Now I'm going to take one of my pieces, and this line here, I'm going to use that line there to line up the edge of my front panel. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to stamp this down. Give it a good solid press. And if it's not dark enough, that's the one thing I love about a stamping platform. It lets you stamp twice and get a good, nice, dark black image. Okay, so there's that. Now I'm going to go ahead and wipe off these kangaroos because I don't need them anymore, and that way I can get them put away and my stamp positioner also put away. So that one there. And this one here. And then while I have this out, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my hearts out. Put those hearts there. And I'm going to take my small little 1-inch block and put that heart there. So we are officially done with the stamp platform. And I'm going to go ahead and I have this piece to stamp, this piece, and this piece, and then I have my scrap square here that I'm going to stamp my bundle of hearts on. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the bundle of hearts on that now. And then I will let that dry, and then I'll be coloring those in a minute. So on the kangaroo piece, I stamped 5 little hearts, kind of randomly. No particular order, so yours might not be in the same spot as mine, but that's okay. So we have that one. And then this is the back piece. And I just randomly stamped some hearts around the edge. Because, you know, you're not going to see any in the middle. And I don't think I did this many, but that's okay. I'm going to just do like that. And then I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to take the middle section, and I'm only going to stamp hearts here on the left-hand side. Just kind of trailing up. Oop, I misstamped that. So let's see if I can... not very good. I got to flip it over. We're going to start over. Thank heavens there are 2 sides to paper, so when I mess up, I can just flip it over and call it good. All right, so there's those hearts. Now, I also had the saying hello, and then just hopping by to say hi. So there's that one, and there's hello. And sorry about that. Got a little ding dong there. I'm going to go ahead and stick that there. Now I have hello. I wonder if that'll fit on there. I'll use my bigger block. I'm going to get those lined up how I want them. Okay. Now I'm going to put that in the upper right hand corner. Just like that. Just hopping by to say hi. Go ahead and clean that off so it'll be ready to put away after. And we're done with this, so we can put the lid on that and set that aside. We're done with those blocks, so I'll put those away. Now we're going to do a little bit of coloring. So I didn't do anything fancy. I am going to take my X-Acto knife before I forget, and I am going to cut the pouch because I need to stick my hearts in there, and so there's just a little hole there so I can stick my hearts in after we get them colored and cut out. So for the hearts on this one, I'm going to use R29. And, you know, these are small images, so if you want to add a little bit darker, you can add just a little bit more ink to the left-hand side of the heart, and that'll give you a little sense of dimension. Just like so. All right, so there you are. That's the first set, or the first page, or first, I don't know. It's something, it's the front of the card. That's what it is. And then this is the middle piece. And I know that I probably won't see those hearts down at the bottom, but that's okay. They're colored just in case, and it didn't take me very long. Okay, there's those ones, and now I'm going to color these ones. This is my back panel, and we're going to color those around the outside edge. And this card, I feel like, comes together much more quicker than the other one. I mean, there's coloring, but there's not as much coloring. So yeah. But, you know, the concept's the same, and I really wanted you to practice making the same card twice. Now, if you don't have that classic label punch, You could certainly just use an X-Acto knife and make 2 tracks like that. Obviously, you'll want to practice to get them right, but you certainly could do it with just an X-Acto knife or your paper trimmer and cut out 2 holes. Or if you have like dies that are for slider cards, if you have a short enough track, you could definitely use those as well. So there are a couple options there. And like I said, for the notch, you could use like the edge of a circle die. You could trace a circle and cut it out by hand. Plenty of options there as well. So that was R29. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color my kangaroos with E34. They're just so cute. I'm not going to do a lot of shading. Some people just need to know that it's okay that you don't shade. You know, I like to shade, but sometimes I like to just do a quick and dirty coloring and be done. Okay, it doesn't all have to be shaded every time. And I think that it still looks just great when you don't shade. Okay. So if you're not fond of the shading and using the different markers to have different colors, don't worry about it. You know, you don't have to. It's your art. It's not anybody else's. And if somebody were to judge you on it, I'd say, you know what, I'm not sending you a card again. Kind of that easy. There we are. I totally just like scribbled all out of the lines. Did you see that? So I'm just going to take my white gel pen and cover that up. Nobody will ever know. It's going to be our secret. All right, so I'm just going to go back and add just a little bit of darkness there, just to blend out some of those lines. But it's still the same colored marker. And then for the inside of the belly, I'm going to use E50. And the nose, I'm going to do a little lighter with E50 as well. All right. So I'm going to quickly fussy cut my hearts. So that I can stick them in my little mama kangaroo's pouch. And then we'll be ready to completely assemble this card. Like I said, this was the hardest part, is the coloring. You know, it goes together pretty quickly once you've done it once or twice. And you know, sometimes we forget how to make cards, but if you do this card, like say, I'm going to do 5 of these cards, go for it. You know, you're going to remember your technique a lot better if you were to do more than just one. And that's why we did 2 cards this month with the same exact technique. Okay, there we are. All right, so this piece, I'm going to put some glue on it. It's going to go on a mango melody. I think that's what this yellow is called. Okay. And this other piece here that has the hearts around the top. Hi, Sammy. It's going to go right around on this one. Just like so. And then I'm going to take this little guy and put him on the Calypso Coral. That's what this color is. And now I think we are ready to assemble. Oh, my magnets stuck to my scissors. All right, so here's my foam tape. And here's my card base. I'm gonna stick the glue there. Okay, so I'm gonna just stick that there. And I'm gonna take this piece and I'm gonna lay it on the inside of my card. And then I'm going to hold my card down with that. And I'm going to stick this piece of foam tape in the middle of that track. And I'm going to stick this piece of foam tape in the middle of this track. And then I'll peel off those backings. And then I'm going to put it on there just like that. There we go. Now I'm going to put some glue. I'm going to put this piece down at the very, very bottom. And I'm going to put some glue here. Just like that. And I'm going to put the back piece, which is this piece here. And I'm going to line it up with the top and in the center. And then I'm going to press. Okay? Just like that, and give that a second to dry a little bit. Then while I have it open like this, I'm just going to do a really thin line of glue here. And I'm going to close this. And give that a good press on both sides. So when I flip it over, that's our slide. So now I have it in the up position. And I'm going to take a little bit of glue on here. And I'm going to just put this where I think it will look best. Okay? And I think right there is good. Okay, super, super cute. Now with this piece of foam tape that I have here, I think number one, it's going to be too long, so I'm going to cut it down a little bit. And I'm going to cut it into thirds. Okay, and I'm going to put this around 3 edges, not the top. I don't want the foam tape on the top edge. And we'll put that there, all the way down. And then this piece across the bottom. There we are. Go ahead and peel my backing off. And my backing. It does not want to come off. There we are. And I am going to just pop that down right in the center. There we are. And now it will slide right down in there. Got a little piece of something sticking out, I think like the back of something. Okay, got it. All right, now I'm going to take my other ribbon here, and this is not Stampin' Up. It's just some I had in my stash, and it's just plain white. It doesn't tie as nicely as the other one because the other one is like satiny and it's slick. Okay. But I didn't want you to think you had to have that kind of ribbon. And I'm going to grab my glue dots again. And one, and find another one here. Oh, there we go. Two. All right, so set those there. Set that there. And here is the original. And here is the one I just did. Ta-da! And it opens just like that. Hello, hopping by to say hi. Cute and simple. Now, let me show you. Remember, I told you I would show you another one I had made at the very end. So, let's go ahead and I will show you that one. And this is with the birthday chick. I love the chicken stamp sets. I used white pigment ink and stamped chicken wire on the background. And then this one, using the Mango Melody, I think. I don't know what color this is. Anyway, there we go. But, you know, my rooster is lined up there. It's pretty cute. And he slides down. Now, this one I haven't put a bow on. I think, actually, I might just do some twine. Some brown twine. Because it's chickens. So, anyway, there you go. That is that card, that card, that card, and then these cards. That is it for the month. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I will get this uploaded onto YouTube as soon as I can. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you later, because that's incredible.